Thank you, ma'am. I request Roopa ma'am to address the audience and share your valuable insights.
A very good morning to everyone, and thank you so much, ma'am, for inviting me, and it's been an honor. And thank you so much, faculty. I think I met most of the women here. Thank you so much for giving me this warm welcome, and I'm touched, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And I like to wish every student here who has been this awardees today, who have done excellent in their respective fields. I wish them all the very best today, and there's a long life ahead of you. And as women, it's going to be tough, but it's also going to be easy. Tough because that's part of life. Tough is always part of life. And that tough is going to teach you how to handle circumstances and situations. As we are all born, brought up in Indian households our parents gives us a lot of values and culture, right? We are the only society in the world who have a lot of culture in us. And that culture is embedded into us when we are growing up. So the culture that mainly for women that we are taught is be obedient, be sincere, study the best, but listen to only your husbands. Correct? Every parent wants their girls to study the best. But please listen to your in-laws and your husband. Yes, we should. I'm not saying no. I've been also married for 35 years and I've lived with my in-laws all my life. I had a very large family and I have a husband too, and I've survived my marriage. So it's not that it's impossible. Everything is possible. Okay? So it all depends upon how you are brought up and how strong you are. I want to talk specifically to the women who are here because you have a long career. Correct? When we grew up, we didn't have social media. So we didn't have social media pressures. Correct? What we had pressures was only education and success, and we had to do the best. Correct? Today you have a lot of social media pressures. So don't succumb to anything in life. Social media has to do what it has to do. You have to do what you have to do. Correct? The biggest thing all of you need to understand is here. Everything starts from here. Everything. So my father, I'll give you a brief about myself. All my life, I was luckily in a family which was financially very well off. We used to have bungalows, we used to have drivers, we used to have servants. And that's how I was brought up and born. I remember when my father was a textile man. I'm a damn brand South Indian from Kerala, Palghat, but I was born and brought up in Ahmedabad. So my father used to be a textile man. All his life, मैंने यही देखा है, a student would come, he would interview them, he would write a letter, and then they used to go and get a job. And then that boy will come with a mithai, right? That I've got a job. Okay? And then I used to see, अच्छा मिठाई आई. Then उसके बाद वो साइकिल से स्कूटर से गाड़ी, फिर वो शादी करता था, फिर उसका एक घर लेता था, तो हमको इनवाइट करते थे. My father was invited, so we used to go and. So for me, all my life I only thought, my father will write a letter, and my life is going to be like that. A cycle to a scooter to a house, and I am happily married and I am happily going to be like that. All my life. So I graduated early because पहले स्कूल में जल्दी डाल देते थे ना, वो डेट ऑफ बर्थ आगे करके. So I graduated almost at 18, 19. So when I was 16, 17, one Sunday, I went to my father. जल्दी उठी थी वो दिन क्योंकि पापा से बात करनी थी ना, तो जल्दी उठ के I came on the sofa. Papa was sitting there reading at Times of India, and I ran down. And I told, I said, Dad, please write me a letter. I also want to start working. And my father didn't speak for 10 minutes. My father was a man of very few words. So 10 minutes कुछ नहीं बोले, कुछ नहीं. 10 मिनट के बाद ऐसे पेपर फोल्ड किया, फाड़ करके वो सेंटर टेबल में ऐसे मारा. And he says, I'm buying a 2 rupee newspaper. और है ना, गुजरात में पूरी एजुकेशन फ्री होती थी विमेन के लिए. So he had paid 36 rupees for my BCom graduation. पे कर दिया था. तो उन्होंने कहा कि I have paid for your school fees. There is this newspaper. Apply and fend for yourself. My job is over. My responsibility is over. Fend for yourself. I was just heartbroken. I looked at him for 2 minutes and he looked at me and I said, "Idhar to kuch galne nahi wala." So I went into the kitchen where my mother was there. So my mother was hearing in the kitchen our dialogue. So I said, "Mom." And the next word was, don't bring the mother between the father and the daughter. Idhar bhi tala band, udhar bhi tala band. Correct? And I was like just broken. I went up in my bedroom and I cried. I literally cried ये सोच के कि मेरी पूरी जिंदगी, मेरी खुशी, मेरा गम, मेरी नीड, मेरा गुस्सा, सब मेरे माँ बाप के साथ था. Correct? As you are growing, everything is your father. Your anger, your demand. आपको खाना नहीं है, ये खाना तो आप फेंकते थे. सब कुछ अपने माँ बाप थे. Suddenly मैंने सोचा आज मेरे माँ बाप नहीं है मेरे साथ. मैं शायद 2 घंटे हुई. उसके बाद उस दिन ठान ली थी कि आज के बाद किसी से कुछ मांगूंगी नहीं जिंदगी में. वो फाइनेंशियली हो, I will be independent and I will never ask anything from anyone. I will achieve it myself. And for 2 years I didn't speak to my parents. मैंने घर पे खाना नहीं खाया था 2 साल. मैं सुबह निकलती थी 5, 5:30 बजे, पढ़ती थी. I started working in a petrol pump for 300 rupees making bills. ये 1985-86 की बात है. Petrol pumps used to be very dirty. A lot of men used to be there. सारी गाड़ियाँ आती थी तभी सर्विसिंग के लिए, grease, oil, सब कुछ होता था. But I worked like that, and that's how I moved up my career. And the only thing that brought me was I had lost fear. I had completely lost fear. मेरे को फेलियर का कोई डर ही नहीं था. Because मैं मांगती थी. 10 जन से कुछ पूछा किया सीखने के लिए, तो 10 में से 8 ना were not helping me, पर 2 जन तो हेल्प करके जाता था कि आपको कुछ सीखना है, आपको कुछ पूछना है. तो 2 people used to help me. But those 2 people made my life. And I have been completely financially independent for the last so many years. And when I got married very early at 21, arranged marriage, very obedient girl. And I was sent and my mother said, you have to be very obedient when you go back to your in-laws, and you have to be, I don't want to listen to any complaints from there. ये नहीं था कि विदाई हो रही है, मेरी बेटी जा रही है, उसको नहीं था. उसको इतना टेंशन था कि मेरा नाम उधर मत काटना, उधर जाके मेरा नाम बर्बाद मत करना, जो भी है वो सुन लेना. So I didn't say anything. I got married. I came very conservative South Indian family, joint family. My father-in-law was the head of the family, mother-in-law. I think all of our salaries used to have to give to them and they used to decide what is to be done. 6 महीना चला 6 महीना चला 6 महीने के बाद मेरे से नहीं रहा गया. तो it was on a, I remember on a we didn't have dinner table those days. हम लोग किचन में नीचे बैठते थे. So I had not discussed with my husband or anybody. Okay, so I just said, I said, I respect all of you. I understand. I have faith in you. I respect all of you. But you know this, I want to manage my own money. I told my father-in-law, I said, Appa, I want to manage my own money, and that is what I have done. And it's not that I don't respect you or I don't trust you or I don't do anything. But that, oh, my father-in-law burst out. What do you think of yourself? Girls don't do this, girls don't do that. Ha, hoo, ha. And then my husband and my mother-in-law were looking at me saying that, what's happened to me? So I said, Dad, what argument was, sab kuch hua? And I said, Dad, I'm just requesting you. But if you don't say yes to me, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And you're not going to like it, but I'm going to do it because that's not me. Please don't stop me from doing that to me. So I remember when I went to the kitchen, my mother-in-law was in the kitchen and she was there with me. She said, do you need to do this? So much of commotion in the house. Why did you ask Dad? I said, Mom, I asked my right. I want to do what I feel like doing. I want to be happy. I don't want to be in a cage. And don't stop me from doing that, Mom. So she didn't say anything. And then my husband asked me, why do you have to say this and all? I said, I'm sorry. I said, I might be your wife, but I'm not your slave. I have to have my identity. I have to have my parents have educated me. I'm working and I have to be financially independent. I think few days if there was issues, they were fine. Correct? Problem is, we don't ask. We don't ask. I am a financial independent financial advisor. I manage money for people. 50% of my clients are women. Okay? Most of them come to me when they are widowed, or they are going to be divorced, or they are single women, when their father used to take care of everything and the father's suddenly passed away. These kind of vulnerable women come to me where उनके इमोशंस इतने लो होते हैं, क्राइसिस हो जाता है, कुछ मालूम नहीं रहता, पैसे किधर है, क्या है, घर चलाना होता है, बच्चे छोटे होते हैं, and they come to me at that situation, and I feel really sorry for them कि मैं कहाँ से शुरू करके कहाँ से उनको इमोशनली हैंडल करूँ. तो मेरे एनर्जी बहुत चला जाता है उनको हैंडल करने के लिए. So I want every woman here to understand कि all of us are going to be someone's wife, we are going to be mothers, we are going to be daughter-in-laws, we are going to be daughters, we are all going to be everything. But we have to understand how do we want to live, correct? How do we want to think about our life? How is that we want? Don't be scared of the world. The world is not going to come and help you at any point of time. Motivate yourself, bring that confidence within yourself, bring that spirit within yourself. हम खून तो थोड़ी कर रहे हैं किसी का, अपना हक मांग रहे हैं ना. किसी को खून कर रहे हैं क्या? I have a lot of people who are into this mutual fund industries. When I started 20 years back, I was the only woman. मैं मीटिंग्स में जाती थी, कहीं भी जाती थी तो सारे मेन होते थे, मैं अकेली लेडी होती थी. मुझे कोई डर नहीं लगता था, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, कोई है नहीं, मेरे को मेरा काम करना है. But today I have a lot of women who are coming, but they are fearful. I have to manage my house, I have to manage this. You can do everything. Because during that, when my career was doing, I had a child He was going to school, babysitter. My husband used to travel. He was 24 days in a month was abroad traveling because he was in a sales job. He was traveling, so I was managing home, everything. But मुझे कभी तकलीफ बिल्कुल नहीं लगी. मैं ट्रेन में चढ़ती थी क्योंकि बॉम्बे में you have to jump into the train, travel few hours, right? I used to manage everything. आपको ये भी नहीं मालूम, मैं ऑफिस से छूट के आती थी ना तो वेजिटेबल्स ले आती थी और मेरे बैग में एक डब्बा रहता था, चक्कू रहता था और एक प्लास्टिक कवर रहता था. तो I used to jump in the train, opposite to sit in the window, and then I used to cut vegetables in the train because I had to optimize my time. Correct? It's all about in your mind what you can do and what you can't do. Correct? I want everybody here as women. You have successfully today you are all going to get awards. Today all you're going to get that recognition. You all have worked hard and qualified yourself. Please utilize that qualification for you and qualification also for what you can do for the society at large. Because your intelligence, your skills are going to not only benefit you but society at large. Correct? It is not for you because there are a lot of people. There could be financial advisors who could be helping people in finance. You could be in banks. You could be in institutions because I was told that most of you are have taken finance as your main subject. You could be teachers. You could be anything in the world. You could be lawyers. You could be anything. All of you are going to contribute into somebody's life. People who are not capable, people who are not enriched, people who don't have the skills, your skill sets are going to make a difference into everyone's life. So, thing is, we are scared of failures, right? How many people are scared of failures? Honest. All. Correct? All. I am a biggest failure. I was a biggest failure. I was the biggest failure in my life when I was growing up. All my cousins are abroad. They're doing very well, studied very well, everything. But for me, I believed in myself. I manifested myself few years ago that I will be the best in whatever I do. Today, I'm the best in the country. I will be the best in the world in the next 10-15 years. If you determine yourself, there is no failure that will stop you. Because your failures define you. Your failures teach you to be better. Do you know how many people have read Harry Potter or seen that Harry Potter movie? J.K. Rowling. Do you know how many years she failed? Her book was rejected 12 times. 12 times. And how many years that failure was? For few years. 8, 9 years. Correct? She kept on persisting. That persistence and that focus made her success in the end of the time, and she became one of the biggest authors of the century. Correct? It's about determination. How many people know basketball? Correct? Michael Jordan was thrown out of his school. He failed. Correct? But his determination, saying that those failures taught him lessons to improvise himself. And those failures is what he is today. How many people know about Jordan Nike shoes? 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Do you know how the story began? The story began a few years ago. This was in the 80s when Jordan was playing and he didn't want to ink himself with Nike. So Nike they went to his mother and struck a deal saying that your son is playing a wonderful game. He was a failure. So what is the tagline of
Just do it.
Nike?
Just do it.
Just do it, right? It is not for the winners. It is for the doers. Right? So they went and spoke to the mother and said, your son is playing, we encourage sports, everybody who runs and everything. So his mother struck a deal and signed it and said, okay, my son will give his name, but every shoe that is sold, there is going to be a royalty. Okay? ये सोशल मीडिया के बाद आजकल आपको ये मालूम पड़ा है जॉर्डन नाइके शूज. You know what is the cost of those Jordan Nike shoes today? Anyone?
Thousands.
It is anything between 60,000 to 80,000 rupees a shoe. Brand gives you that price. Correct? All of these guys were failures. All of these guys were failures. Failures define you. Failures teaches you to improvise yourself. It teaches you humility. It teaches you persistence. It teaches you saying that how disciplined and focused you have to be. It disciplines you in your process. You become the best when you have failures that keep on happening. You have so many stories in India too who were failures, like Narayan Murthy had failed, his public issue had flopped. Nobody wanted him, but today everybody wants his stock, right? So they were failures for all of us. Failures are going to be a part of us. And believe saying that define yourself and think saying that every failure that comes, you will accept it in a positive way and look it forward and take it forward and say that how I can improvise and look through. So I have certain things. I manifest. Manifestation is something which is very, very positive. Okay. I don't know, I can send you a link about a gentleman called as Arnold van den Berg. I just heard him and I met him just now last month, exactly last month today. I was at him in US. He is 87 years old and he talks about manifestation. His parents and him were in Germany in the concentration camps and they were tortured. Parents were tortured and he was smuggled out. And he went through a lot of malnutrition, a lot of mental hazard and all. He is so positive that he talks about manifestation. He used to manifest saying that I want to be the fittest, I want to run the best, I want to do this. He kept on talking to himself and he achieved everything that he taught. और उसके ऐसे हाथ में आ जाता था. उसने एक एग्जाम्पल लास्ट ईयर बताया. So in 1956 or 57 he wanted to buy a house और उसके बैंक अकाउंट में 500 रुपए थे. Only $500. तभी property prices in the US was $40,000 to $50,000. So that day his wife said we should buy a house and he had just started his business which was not doing very well. But in the morning निकलने से पहले उसने सोच लिया था आज तो मैं घर फाइनल करके ही घर पे आऊंगा, करके ही आऊंगा. Okay? So they started. जितने घर देखे वो $40,000 $50,000 के थे जो उनके बजट में नहीं था. तो उनकी वाइफ दोपहर तक लंच तक बहुत थक गई थी. उन्होंने कहा कि मुझे घर छोड़ दो, आज तो कुछ होने नहीं वाला है. He says नहीं आज होगा. He went and dropped his wife and came back to the same area. जैसे वो एंटर होते हैं वो एरिया में एक आदमी घर के बाहर वो किल्ला ठोकता था house for sale. So he went inside and he says, "Is this house for sale?" And he went inside. Oh, he went inside and saw the house. He loved the house. And then he said, "I am sure this house will be 40-50,000." ऐसा मन में सोचा. तो उस gentleman को पूछा saying that कि I love the house. How expensive would it be? He says this is $27,000. But I can still negotiate. Okay? He says, no, don't negotiate because it's quite reasonable, so don't negotiate. Tabhi mobile to nahi the. So there was a landline, so he asked the gentleman, sir, can I use your landline to call my wife so that she can see the house? So he calls up, his wife comes, looks at the house, and she says, this would be costing $50,000. So he said, no, this is $27,000. And she's like, really? But अच्छा $3,000 down payment देना है बैंक में $500. So he says, he gives that $500 and says, keep this $500 as my token. In the week's time, I'll come and pay you the balance $2,500. His wife comes out and says, your business is not doing well, there's no money, where the hell are we going to get $3,000? He says, it will come. It will come. Exactly within the 5th day, he had done some business some time back. His bank account में $3,000 आए. And he paid. That's called manifestation. Every day morning when you think something and go out, you believe in yourself, it happens. What you believe happens. What you think happens. You have to believe in yourself, think big, do things big, because I manifest. I dream big. I really dream big. Do you know what is my dream? My dream is to own an aircraft of myself and I can fly the bloody world. And I'll have it one day. I want to dream big because only when I dream big, I will put efforts in doing things big. Correct? So, as you go out tomorrow, you want to be successful, you need a commitment. Only when you have a commitment, you will have success. All of you girls have to have a commitment to what you want. So what do? I write down 365 days every minute. Every day of my life, I write down what I want to do. Even today. While in the car, I was writing. Because writing enforces your thought, which translates into your power, which is on your paper, which reflects back, because thought not put down vanishes. Thought which is put down in the book remains and you can read it back. Every thought that you have to write, you have to read, right? So I just wanted to share what I wrote in the car, okay? Don't wait someone to love you. Learn to love yourself. Nobody in the world has the time to come and love you. हम थोड़ी कोई तोप है कि अपने को आके कोई आके love करेगा, कोई नहीं करेगा, correct? We have to first love ourselves. And it's okay if we love ourselves and work ourselves. Because every day in the morning when I get up, I dress the best, stand in front of the mirror and say that I am the best. I don't care if others think or not. Because I need to think for myself. Second, learn to be alone and independent. Very few people have the skills to do that. To be alone and to be independent. You can be with your family, but your thoughts and your actions have to be independent and completely write down. Very, very few people have the skills to do that, and I would urge all of you to do that at this point of time. Please listen to your parents' advice, because they are the only one in the world who think good for you. Only one in the world who will think good for you. Nobody else. Please do listen to them. Maybe they can be completely different, they can stop you, they can be. Because I am what I am today is because of my father. I think if my father had given me easy life, I would not have been standing here today. I didn't speak to my father for 2 years, but I am indebted to him for what he has created and made me. Because all of you are going to be alone at some point of life, your parents, your friends, or no one is going to be there at a time of your life when you actually need them. I can share with you saying that I've gone through one of the worst tragedies in my life. I lost my only son to an accident 8 years ago. I was back to work in 15 days. I lit my son's fire with my husband. We don't go to cremation grounds. I asked permission of my mother-in-law and I said, I've lost everything in my world, Mom, don't stop me today. I went there. In that moment when I saw my husband lighting the fire, I felt saying that if I have a right to give birth to my son, I also have the right to give farewell to my son. And I think as a mother, I have to have the dignity to do that. I did that. I started working 15 days later. It's not that the grief has not gone away from me. I don't have to show the world the grief. Because the moment I start sharing the world grief, they are all going to come and use my insecurities and they are going to kill me. I have to stay strong so that the world thinks that I'm fine and I know how to fight my things. I think my father knew somewhere 45 years ago that I'm not going to be there with my daughter for the rest of my life. And that's what I wanted to tell every parent here. Make your daughters strong. Don't make your daughters weak, because you are not going to be there with them for the rest of their life. Educate them, empower them, make them strong to face anything in the world. Financial security, self-respect, self-dignity will give that strength to your daughters to survive any calamities in the world. It is very essential saying that that strength has to come from within and that you as parents have to instill when the child is young. And I will also urge the teachers today here to instill that values and that strength into those children, because that's the most essential importance, because apart from education, to live life with dignity. Fourth, choose your friend wisely. As you are the product of your circumstances and you are the product of your environment. Correct? If you have good people around you, you will thrive. If you have bad people around you, you will succumb. It's like one rotten apple can rotten the entire baskets of the apple. Same way, choose your friend who are right for you, who are meaningful for you, because those will bring your environment to be much better for yourself. Now my favorite topic. Save money every week. Save money every week. It doesn't matter even if it is 10 rupees or 100 rupees. Bring in that discipline. It doesn't matter how much is it, but it's like every drop of water becomes an ocean. Every drop of money saved will become an ocean of wealth in the next few 15, 20, 30 years. Why I want the women especially to start saving and building their corpuses when you're working. Once you move out of your college, your career life before your marriage is going to be 4-5 years. After marriage, you will be under pressure to have babies. And if you have worked for 4, 5, 6 years, and it's suddenly when you have child, and you have to sit at home to take care of the child, Most of the women get into depression during that period because they are not financially, all their life they have been financially well off, and suddenly they find saying that I don't have money. I have to ask money from my husband. That depression is going to hit you very hard. So every girl, I would request saying that save so much that during that time when you have your child, that 2 years or 3 years, you have that money to fall back on and you can use that money. And then you can start working. But don't get into that depression, because I have got 25 cases where this depression is because they didn't save. Today they have to ask money to their husbands don't give them the money, for whatever reasons that would be. You get into a depression. Start saving every week, every day. And I can teach you how to save that if you want. Beautifully save, get yourself financially secured, because these lessons are not taught anywhere. These practical lessons are not taught anywhere. क्योंकि हमारे घरों में ना डाइनिंग टेबल पे कभी पैसे की बात नहीं होती है. माँ बाप पैसे के बारे में बात नहीं करते हैं. हम दोस्तों के साथ मिलते हैं, when we meet friends, हम क्या बात करते हैं? तूने घर कहाँ लिया, तूने पिक्चर कहाँ देखी, तुम कहाँ हॉलीडेज पे गए, तुमने कौन सी गाड़ी खरीदी, करेक्ट? तुम्हारे बच्चे कौन से स्कूल में जाते हैं, कौन से ट्यूशन पे जाते हैं. हम वो सब बात करेंगे, बट ये नहीं सोचते ये सब करने के लिए पैसे की जरूरत होती है. तो ये जो पैसा है, आपका दोस्त कैसे इन्वेस्ट करता है, आपका कोई फैमिली में कौन कैसे इन्वेस्ट करता है, क्योंकि पैसा एक उसको इनहिबिशंस बोलते हैं, एक टैबू है हमारे सोसाइटी में पैसे के बारे में बात करना. सो पीपल डोंट इन्वेस्ट. सो क्या होता है कि जब समय जब आता है ना, तब पैसे नहीं रहते हैं, क्योंकि पूरी जिंदगी तो घर बनाने में हमने निकाल दी, उसमें ईएमआई डाल डाल के, बच्चों को पढ़ाने के लिए ईएमआई डाल डाल के, अपना रिटायरमेंट तो कभी सोचा ही नहीं. सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज यू बिकम फाइनेंशियली इनसिक्योर. इट्स वेरी एसेंशियल सेइंग दैट कि पैसे के बारे में हम बात करने की शुरू करें. और इसका इनहिबिशंस ये भी बताती हूँ क्यों है. हमारी जिंदगी में द फर्स्ट इंटरैक्शन दैट वी डू इन आवर लाइफ इज द फर्स्ट इंटरैक्शन, फाइनेंशियल इंटरैक्शन इज ओपनिंग अ बैंक अकाउंट. करेक्ट? वी ओपन अ बैंक अकाउंट. बैंक में जब जाते हैं, वो अपने को हुलिया देख के वो फॉर्म देता है और बोलता है भर के ले आ. करेक्ट? लेकिन इमेजिन करो कोई अच्छा ढंग का आदमी ड्रेस करके वो सामने आता है ना, तो हुलिया देख के बोलते हैं सर आप बैठिए ना, मैं फॉर्म भरता हूं. There is a discrimination in the mind already done, saying that तेरे पास पैसे नहीं है, इसके पास पैसे हैं, consciously और unconsciously. हमको वो बैंक का जो छोटा सा क्लर्क है ना, हमको गरीब दिखाता है, और वो हमारे दिमाग के पैसे सबकॉन्शियस माइंड में बैठ जाता है कि हमारे पास पैसे नहीं है. बट मनी इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इन आवर लाइफ. और सबसे बढ़िया एक सोचिएगा आज, द बिगेस्ट रिस्क दैट वी हैव इज लॉन्जिटिविटी ऑफ लाइफ. हमारे बुजुर्ग सब 90 इयर्स और 93 इयर्स जीते हैं. लोग रिटायर होने के बाद पहले 20 साल जीते थे, आज रिटायरमेंट के पास 40 साल जीते हैं, क्योंकि मेडिकल एडवांसमेंट हो गया है. सो यू हैव टू प्रोवाइड फॉर द नेक्स्ट 40 years after retirement. And the statistics is 65% of women become widowed by the age of 65 in India. Vis-a-vis men is only 19%. And women live longer than men. Women live longer than men. Correct? So it is very essential saying that as man, you provide for yourself and you provide for your wife. But especially women who are working here, you should understand saying that if you don't save for long term, it's going to be risky for all of you. So please start saving. And I think I have covered a lot of my ground. And I can just share with you saying that I want every woman on this planet to be empowered, every woman on the planet to walk with dignity, and I would love every one of you to be the most successful person in the globe. And I wish all of you a very, very heartening life. I wish you all abundance in the world. Be fearful, be creative. Just throw your mind what you want to do and love yourself the first. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.